When your alarm goes off tomorrow morning, you'll drag yourself out of bed. You'll be tired. You'll need coffee. You'll scroll your phone in a daze for 20 minutes before your brain even turns on. And you'll assume that's just how humans work. That fatigue, that grogginess, that sense that you're not fully present until your third cup of caffeine, that's not normal. That's not how your body was built to feel. But somewhere on this planet right now, there are people waking up at 2 a.m. completely alert, completely rested. And they're not using alarms. They're not using coffee. They're just living the way humans lived for 300,000 years. The question is, what are they actually doing at 2 a.m.? Let's rewind. In 1992, psychiatrist Thomas Wehr at the National Institute of Mental Health ran an experiment that should have changed everything we know about sleep. He took volunteers and removed all artificial light from their lives. For a month, they experienced 14 hours of darkness every night, just like humans would have before electricity. Within weeks, every single participant's body did something remarkable. It segmented sleep into two distinct phases: 4 hours of sleep, then 1 to 3 hours of quiet wakefulness, then 4 more hours of sleep. Their bodies weren't broken, they were remembering. But here's what almost nobody talks about. What were they actually doing during those wakeful hours? The answer came from an unlikely place. In the early 2000s, anthropologist Polly Wiessner spent years with the hoansi Bushmen of the Kalahari Desert. The hoansi are one of the last human populations still living something close to how humans lived for most of our existence. No electricity, no artificial light, no alarm clocks, just fire, darkness, and time. Wiessner recorded thousands of hours of their conversations. What she found was striking. During daylight hours, conversations were practical, transactional: where to hunt, which plants are ready, complaints, logistics, work talk. But when the sun went down and people settled around the fire after their first sleep, something shifted completely. 81% of nighttime conversations were stories, not news, not complaints, not logistics, stories, tales of people in distant places, adventures, myths about the origins of the world, jokes that made the entire camp laugh, personal histories, dreams interpreted while they were still fresh in memory. These weren't casual chats. These were the foundation of human culture being transmitted in real time. Every night, every single night, the hoansi gathered in that wakeful window between sleep cycles and built their civilization through narrative. Think about that. You wake up at 2 a.m. and you call it insomnia. A hoansi person wakes up and gathers the entire community for what amounts to oral university. But storytelling wasn't the only thing happening. A 16th century physician documented that couples conceived children during this window deliberately because they understood it was the optimal time. People visited neighbors, they wrote, they reflected. A doctor's manual from the 1500s called it the watch, the quiet hours between first and second sleep, when the mind was calm and the world was still. It was recommended as the best time to study, to think deeply, to solve problems. Modern neuroscience explains why. During that wakeful period in Wehr's experiment, the brain was producing elevated levels of prolactin, the same hormone released during meditation, during orgasm, during states of deep peace and reflection. The participants described their wakefulness as meditative, peaceful. Unlike normal waking consciousness, it was its own distinct state, a third state of consciousness that most modern humans have never experienced. So what does a modern isolated tribe actually do at 2 a.m.? The same thing humans have always done. They gather, they think, they build culture, they strengthen bonds, they solve the problems that daylight didn't allow time for. The San people of southern Africa, like the hoansi, maintain this rhythm even today. When they wake in the night, they don't lie there anxious. They sit by the fire, they talk, they sing. Music emerges from these hours. Many San songs recorded by ethnomusicologists were composed during the wakeful period between sleeps, not during the day, not during first sleep. In that specific state of consciousness, that meditative wakefulness, something in the human brain unlocks creativity that daylight suppresses. The Hadza of Tanzania, another group living with minimal artificial light, follow a similar pattern. Hunter-gatherer societies across Africa, South America, and Australia all show variations of segmented sleep, and in every single culture, the wakeful period is treated as significant, sacred even, a time for reflection, ritual, community, not something to fight against or medicate away. Here's what's devastating. Modern humans are almost never in that state anymore. When you wake up at 2 a.m. in a modern bedroom, you're surrounded by the glow of your phone, your smart devices, the street light bleeding through the window. Your brain detects that light and interprets it as daytime. Melatonin production stops. Cortisol rises. You become anxious. You check the time obsessively. You lie there in mild panic, wondering why you can't sleep, not realizing you're supposed to be awake. Your body is trying to enter the third state of consciousness, and your environment is actively preventing it. We've eliminated an entire phase of human existence. We didn't just change our sleep, we deleted something essential. The tragedy is that most of us don't even know we've lost it. A hoansi person wakes in the night and their body is flooded with prolactin, creating a state of calm reflection. A modern person wakes in the night and their amygdala lights up. Anxiety floods their nervous system. They pop a sleeping pill or scroll until their eyes burn. Then they drag themselves out of bed 8 hours later, exhausted, wondering why they feel broken. They're not broken. They're just in the wrong environment for the biology they were built with. The research backs this up. People who camp for just 1 week without artificial light don't just sleep differently. Their entire hormonal system resets. Melatonin production shifts by nearly 2 hours. Their bodies remember in 7 days what modernity had stolen in decades. They start sleeping in 2 phases again, naturally, as if 300,000 years of programming was just waiting underneath the surface. And when they wake in that middle window, most report exactly what the isolated tribes report: calm, clarity, a sense of peace they'd never experienced in their modern lives. So what were ancient humans doing all day? They were living in rhythm with their biology. They worked during daylight, they rested, they woke in the night and gathered. They used that wakeful window for the things daylight couldn't accommodate: connection, creativity, reflection, meaning-making. Then they slept again. Then they woke to work again. It was a rhythm, not a disorder. The hoansi still do this, the San still do this, the Hadza still do this, and buried inside your nervous system, your body still wants to do this. It's been trying to tell you for years. Every night you wake at 2 a.m., your body is sending the same message it's been sending for 300,000 years. This is the time. This is the hour. Gather, think, create, connect. We replaced that with sleeping pills and anxiety and the assumption that there's something wrong with us. The question isn't what ancient humans did all day. The question is, what are we doing instead? And what are we losing by not doing it?